the show last night. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on back to the Midwest Esports Conference. My name is Travis C, and I'm joined here with my co-caster, Rebel. Rebel, we have a different background than what I'm normally used to here.
Yeah,
What's up? What's going on here?
I am dog sitting this week for a friend. They're gone, so there's 3 dogs in this house. So if you hear barking, that's the reason why. Because one's at my feet, but the other 2 are being rambunctious downstairs. So yeah, new digs, new week, all the same fun action here at the MEC. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, and this is our last match of the regular season. It feels bittersweet to say that. It's almost like, where did the time go, right, Rebel? It felt like just yesterday we were starting off the season, getting things ready, trying to paint a picture, talking about the storylines of who could be the favorites to run into the race here. But here we are, our final game of the day. We got Braves taking on Illinois College.
And what a whirlwind kind of end to the season that we've had, because we've had a ridiculous number of standings changes. Things have turned out in ways that we never could have possibly imagined as the split has gone on. We've had some absolute bangers. I know you lost your voice yesterday. I'm surprised you're casting today. After everything that has gone on in the grand scheme of the pipeline that is the MEC, finally we arrive at our final game of the regular season. So we're getting ready to kick off playoffs. CLO playoffs is kicking off everywhere very, very shortly. And it's an exciting time of year for all of us CLO fans.
It's so much fun to watch, and here we go. You can see the standings. These will be completed here today, and with things going on, there are tiebreaker implications. So if Ottawa Braves were to lose today, then that means that tiebreaker would go on between them and GVU, and then there would be a tiebreaker for 6 seed. Then on the other side, if Illinois College lose, then there is a tiebreaker between Drury Panthers and them for that 7th, 8th seed. The way tiebreakers work here in the MEC and pretty much all of CLO, I feel like. A lot of times you look at CLO, this is just how tiebreakers work. It's all about that time. So fastest game time will be what you'll be looking at for those dubs inside of the tiebreakers. I'm not sure of who is ahead on those. That's not my job. I'm just here to get excited for our final game here. And I'm gonna be real, Rebel. Last time I talked to Coda and Levi last week, and they said for the Illinois College game they had something spicy planned, which worries me a little bit.
Yeah, when this team starts talking about spicy, I'm a little bit curious. So that's of interest to me to try to figure out what it is that they're going to be up to here.
They did confirm it's not Pantheon. I asked. They told me not Pantheon, so I'm not getting that today, but, going at least not from OU. But on the other side, you can see the rosters here. This has been an interesting story team for IC. They've had a lot of players that have been moving around, shifting around. They've done a little bit of moving around inside the top side of the map. Usopp's been here and there. They've been here for the most part since we got into the end part of the season as well. We've seen Sage get moved around to the jungle, back to AD carry. This is a team that's really was trying to figure out exactly what they wanted to look like going into playoffs.
Yeah, and eventually, I don't know if they ever really truly found the form that has looked best for them, but we do know that some of the players have been performing pretty well. I'll just throw out a second kind of vote down towards that bottom side of, like, you said Sage, I'm going to say Sagawaba because I think it's a lot funnier to say Sagawaba, but they a really, really fun kind of bot lane combination that has been good all season. I'm pretty sure also there was some sort of post that Sage actually was looking for a team to play inside of Amateur, which is kind of cool to think that players here in the MEC have been developing, even if the roster doesn't do insanely well, even at our 7th place, still players that are kind of there looking for tryouts, looking to step into the next level of play, which is exciting stuff for us.
I mean, we've seen Unified actually go out, especially during like the LAN events. I remember seeing some of the cards that pop up every now and again on social media. I love those, by the way, because it's just like fun facts about some of the players on some of the teams that you might not know. And there are quite a few players that have aspirations to a career in esports, right? Like this is another stepping stone for them to go towards that dream, to make that moment happen. We actually have laughed many times, you and me both, where we have both looked over at Amateur and the fact that Amateur's on the weekends now. It's been chaos for CLO because so many CLO players play in Amateur. And talking about that, you look over at OU, hey, look, they got one of the best junglers that have came out of Amateur, Trickster, who has joined the collegiate scene for the first time this year. And they've been popping off.
Yeah, in my opinion, I know maybe voting hasn't happened yet, so this hasn't been decided. But like Ottawa, if they walk away with the #1 seed, they end up making a decent play in playoffs. Feels like Trickster is probably a shoe-in for at least one of the top 3 spots in the MVP voting. I'm not going to go so far as to say that they are the guarantee. I'm just going to say I think I know where my vote's going because Trickster has stepped onto this roster and transformed it from last year. This team has looked absolutely insane with them as the addition. I do have to ask you one thing, which is yesterday, did Riverside play when they're playing up against GVU?
Yes, so this is a
Okay.
very interesting thing that came about. We actually asked Riverside about it in the game interview at the very that we should expect going forward. And Riverside had said, yeah, I think you should be expecting to see me in the mid lane more often. And Riverside had a phenomenal game, especially the Talia game I think of. I'm very fond of that game. Really proactive on the map, really was making moves happen, and really was making their impact known, especially in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything necessarily wrong with Blonde, so I'm not going to sit here and criticize them. But what Riverside kind of adds is #1, Riverside was on GVU, which I think is hilarious that like it came out of the MEC, then is back to the MEC just on a different roster altogether. Has had a couple of stints on amateur. And there's 2 champions that have always come to mind. #1, Talia, I think has always been kind of up there for him. Not always massive, but even when the champion wasn't super strong, you saw him picking it. The other one is Azir. 2 champions that are insane in the meta right now. 2 champions that are very easily blindable in the meta. And so Riverside fits into this as both a kind of long-standing member of competitive play in CLoL and in some of the amateur stuff, as well as having like a decent champion pool right now. Feels like a perfect fit of a glove for this roster to pull in at just the right time to really spike here at the end of the season.
Also kind of keeps the team grounded a bit, I feel like. This team's very much so they're happy to talk junk, man. I don't know if you've looked on Twitter and saw some of the stuff that's going on between, I think it's Coda and Lone Force that have been just going back and forth on their exchanges. It's been hilarious to go back and watch some of the trash talk. But Riverside is super humble. I try to get them to talk any kind of trash about any of the other opposition, and Riverside is like, no, man, it's okay. I just go out there and I do my business. That's all it is. Like it's pretty respectable. We're going into the draft here. We're going into game. We're starting off our final series of the regular season.
You know, we're gonna get a chance to talk about draft, but first I have to gloat just a little bit. I just want you to know that it's not Sage. It is Sagawaba because that is the correct pronunciation. That is confirmed. Sagewabe, whatever. I'm going to say Sagawaba because I think it's funnier, but that is the way that it's pronounced. You're going to hear us say everything because, again, it's easy to shorten to Sage, easy to shorten to Wabe. Sagawaba's funny. Sagewebe, whatever it is that is actually, we apologize because the pronunciation is going to be off. I just want Travis to know that my pronunciation was closer.
Okay. All right.
Feel bad about yourself, Richard.
You know what? This one thing from the MEC season that I can say is I've definitely learned a thing or two about pronunciation. So let's go ahead to see what we got here. We're cranking into the draft, see what the bans are. We're already seeing IC is paying respect. Trickster had a pop-off day on the Graves yesterday against GVU. I think they were like 11, 1, and 10 on the champion in game number 2. And also Killian Rumble.
Still not allowed to play that champion to any extent whatsoever. The Heimerdinger also, again, making sure that that bot lane combination doesn't have something really oppressive. Wonder how much of this is Coda just saying that Lone Force isn't allowed to play the game because of the 2 their Twitter exchanges whatsoever. You also have to think that this is, while there are stakes behind the seeding, both these teams are kind of locked for their positions respectively, where like Ottawa is going to be heading to playoffs and Illinois College is not going to be heading to playoffs. So
no, they're being playoffs. Yeah, every team makes playoffs. So
okay.
Yeah. So the playoff bracket, the way it works, and this is actually another thing for IC, is first seed goes against 8th seed. Then second seed, 7th seed, 3rd seed, and so on and so forth.
If Ottawa wins this game and then Illinois College loses the tiebreaker, these two will play in the first round of playoffs the second time.
Yes.
Which has to be my vote here. If nothing else, that has to be my vote just so we can get this matchup the second time in a row. So that should be fun.
I think it's actually insane that is how the final week comes about, and just like we're gonna go in the playoffs, is like, and they go again. That could be a possibility here, depending on the tiebreakers. If IC were to drop here, see what the first pick is. Zaya was left open and has been a first pick of choice amongst the teams in the MEC.
Yeah, it's definitely risen to popularity. I'm a little shocked that like Varus actually like gets banned out, just because the Ottawa was running this yesterday, right? Like they were running it really, really heavily against GVU. I'm surprised Levi Plug and Coda don't want to go back to that like Varus Braum combination that was working so well for them. Maybe that was more matchup specific.
They're
Yeah,
sick
you're
of
sick
it.
of it. You're bored. That's right. You said they had spice ready for the series. Maybe we're gonna get something even spicier than anything else before. We'll get our brand Nami bot lane. We'll get our Twitch jungle. We'll get all the good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Rakan, okay. So not necessarily the spice and everything nice right off the get-go. Was this? Okay, Jarvan to come about. We have, I believe OU is the team that has flexed this into the top lane with Killian before. So we'll see if that could be a flex again.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful enough champion to be able to throw into the top lane, but it's an incredible jungler right now, especially as of some of the more recent patches and things like that. We're also now on 13.5, so that means that like jungle farm is a little bit more valuable as well. I'm a little upset that this is not a Thresh, because I've seen Thresh Xayah start to pop up just a little bit more instead of Xayah Rakan, and especially into a Rakan lane, Thresh is like disgracefully good.
Yeah.
So not only would you have one of the better like attacking standard marksman in Xayah that's got like 3 damage and self-peel, you get even more peel and more playmaking out of your bot lane by picking Thresh rather than the Nautilus. So, I don't know. That would be my opinion, but here it's Lone Force taking this selection. Yeah. So
freshly buffed too. I'm with you. Woo. That's a Veigar coming out for the Dicey. So we do see this quite often. Heimerdinger gets banned. Dicey's just like, all right, give me another Yordle. Let me get that Veigar, the man of evil.
I love Veigar. There's a lot of champions that Veigar is also super good into right now. So like Veigar should be raising in the meta after everything that's kind of changed up a bit. I'm excited for it. I think Veigar is going to start popping up as a much more popular champion. Who's to say what it is that Riverside can actually take? Okay, now that's a pick.
That's a Riverside champion too.
That's a Riverside. Okay, that's a Riverside LeBlanc into this Veigar.
That's spicy. That's something. I like this as an answer. This is a champion that Riverside actually has banned against them many a times inside of the games ever since they've joined into this roster. And, I mean, it makes sense if you look back at the history of this player. But Riverside on this, Veigar is not going to enjoy themselves. I do think it's interesting. We look over at Icy. They're actually opting to get rid of Killian's Gnar, which is their comfort pick, yes. But it also is like the first time I think we've seen Killian's Gnar force a ban.
Probably necessary after what we saw yesterday, because they ran it twice in a row and Killian was a beast on it, so it's making sense. As a blind pickable champion on R4, it's one of my favorites, because they're like the stuff that usually beats it just isn't quite as strong as it normally is, so it's even hard to kind of punish it in a counter pick situation. I want to come back to LeBlanc really quick. LeBlanc got some crazy buffs this patch, actually. She got bonus damage to minions on her Q. And anytime you cast her Q or the ult variant of her Q, you get mana back for it. You get return mana. Her wave control got dramatically better as of this patch. And like I saw no one talk about it. Not one person.
I didn't even know about it.
That's what I'm saying. It felt like it was almost stealth patch for LeBlanc. But yeah, she got a lot of changes that did make her a lot more healthy in the laning phase, which is why I'm so curious. This was an instant pickup from Riverside to go into the Veigar, which I am a bit curious about, because I'm worried that like the dash, as opposed to having a blink or something, is going to make it difficult to engage onto Dicey. But I mean, Riverside is good at the champion. I would not be remiss to say that I think it's possible that he's just going to dominate or attempt to dominate against the Veigar.
I'm amazed. I think everybody's just been so focused on the big old Space Dragon Aurelion Soul. Look, there's even the patch. It flickered up there. Oh, it's big. It's in bold. There's the patch there for it. Yeah, I didn't know this has actually happened. I'm glad you brought that to my attention, because I do think it's a combination of everybody's focus over there. Wow, Usopp taking the Gwen. Killian did not have fun versus Gwen yesterday inside the laning phase, especially inside of Game 1. Their normal pick's gone. Kennen, an immediate answer.
Very, very nice. Kennen has been getting a lot stronger in the meta recently. I don't think Kennen got a lot of changes as of late that like really made him like a whole lot stronger. Actually, this patch is the one that might have gave him some cooldown reduction and stuff on the early Q. So actually, I'll take that back. I think he got changes this patch that actually made him stronger and already was creeping up in the meta. So again, another champion. Ottawa was prepped for this patch, man. They're ready with the Kennen, they're ready with the LeBlanc, they're ready with the Jarvan, another champion that like is doing well on this patch as well. The Kai'Sa's been popping back up. Like this is a meta forward squad that came out here with a lot of really modern picks.
Yeah, man, if you take away the Rakan and the Kai'Sa, right? Like, you look at the top side of the map, then these are some older champions, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's just pretty fun to see them actually resurging back into the meta. A lot of team fighting that could possibly come out. I'm excited to see Riverside and LeBlanc, but on the flip side of things, right? The team fighting that comes out from IC, this Wukong, this Vigard, this Nautilus, right? You actually have quite a bit of CC you're able to apply inside these team fights, and it's not a little amount either. They can lay it on thick.
Yeah, the important part about Ottawa is that you're kind of fighting in a single direction with big ultimate chain. So you got like Killian's ultimate with Trickster's ultimate, and then it's picking people off with LeBlanc and Kai'Sa afterwards. But you have to be really cautious because if you start stacking together as a 5-man unit, then you have so much through damage with Cyclone, you've got Gwen ultimate, and you've got kind of feathers coming through from Xayah that can just completely turn a fight altogether and have absolutely no bearing on anything. Not to mention, if anybody comes in at any amount below like 75% health, it's always possible Vigard just pops them for 100% of what they have left and that they just die. So Kennen, do you need an exhaust? No, you just need a Vigard ultimate and erase him, and then he's out of the fight completely. So that's the fear. I think IC, they're operating on a margin of turning back into Ottawa when Ottawa makes the aggressive play. Not always a big fan of that, but it does mean that like you cannot give Ottawa a bunch of damage to start with, because if Kennen is super far ahead, if Jarvan's super far ahead, you just lose the fight before you have a chance to turn.
Yeah, does lead into quite the dilemma, right? Like, I do want to see, like, Killian had some great flanks yesterday, and that was of course against GVU, which is one of the big teams that people have been talking about. When people have made their top 16 tier list of all the collegiate teams, GVU was up there. It was Killian who found those flanks on Gnar. Kennen's much easier. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, you do have to like manage your anger. You know, you got to go through a couple courses. You know, get that stuff under wraps and be able to let out that rage at the right time in the right place. Kennen, nah, bruh. Slice the Maelstrom, slice through the team, get a deep flank in there. Pretty nice. It could be pretty nutty, and leads us into a good situation. Here we go. We are going into game here between Illinois College and Ottawa Braves. Let's see what they got, and we're already starting with a 5-stat.
It is curious to me that IC was not willing to make the one summoner spell choice for the counter to Kennen, which is just the exhaust summoner spell. If anybody takes exhaust, the champion is hard to play in fights, because if you go in and you press your ultimate and you're trying to dash, and then you are both slowed and you do much less damage, makes you easier to kill, makes it harder to apply your stun, makes it harder to apply shock, and it makes it harder to do damage. And so I'm really, honestly, a little appalled that that did not come through from anybody on the side of Illinois College. I was like, Lone Force could probably run that. You don't need the Ignite. Like, who is sustaining? You're not building Bloodthirster on Kai'Sa. You're not doing anything like that.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
Aggressive. Nice. Electrocute proc. You got that in there. They don't get a D-port either as a response. So, I see. Kind of held back a little bit. Usopp's actually going to back.
Yeah.
Nope, they stopped their back. So I was about to say, they back there, that would mess up the entire timing for this Gwen.
Yeah, one thing to note is that there were also Doran shield nerfs on this patch, which is partially, I think, what has allowed Kennen to step back in. Like, Kennen is a ranged harass champion. There's a reason that you go Dorans on this champion despite being AP, and that's because you get better damage from just harassing your opponent rather than just, like, using spells and harassing as opposed to anything else. And with the Doran's shield changes, it's a lot harder to full sustain from that. It's something that was kind of keeping Kennen a little bit away from the meta. Everybody builds Doran's shield in the top lane. It's really, really simple to make that work. You can see Killian already abusing the rage advantage on the top side of the map.
Yeah, putting in the hurt onto Usopp inside of the matchup, getting a little bit of revenge for themselves. Keep our eyes on this Jarvan. I feel like if we are going to be seeing some early action happen on the map, the Trickster is going to be the person to make it happen.
So I was dying there for a second.
Oh,
Trickster's already on the top side, too. They haven't even hit level 2 yet, Trickster. Leave him alone.
Yeah. Usopp might be the one looking to die. A flash, flag, and drag, and one more shuriken. It's first blood for the Kennen.
Well played right there on the top side. Trickster also knowing that, like, if you throw the flag and drag behind the Gwen isn't suddenly going to backstep because you can run into it, and then flashes forward to make sure that it hits because you can flash out of an EQ. Really cool mechanic on Jarvan that you can use to trick a lot of people if you ever need a new champion and you want to practice some mechanic. It's an easy thing to practice. And Trickster used it perfectly right there to be able to catch the Gwen and be able to deliver the first kill over to Kennen, which is a massive W for this Kennen, being able to kind of get going, get rolling inside of this game. Again, the more upfront damage you've got on this Kennen, the easier these fights are going to be because it's going to deny the kite back as
Frenchlight goes in. Riverside's going to be first to be able to hit this from the mid lane, but check out Trickster. They are dropped. Baby Rage Cage put into place, forces the flash from Coda to keep the aggression going. Riverside secures the kill in the lone force, but it's a double to 255. Should be easy for the rest of IAC to escape, but Riverside is actually flashing forward. Wants the smoke and wants those buffs. Levi secures the kill onto 255, and they just got turned on their head.
That they did. Actually, Killian was super close to a stun right there. It was an invade coming in from Illinois College because they said, okay, Trickster's on the top side of the map. He's going to beeline to bot side because he went 2-camp direct into top lane in an attempt to steal away the buff, which actually worked for 255. And they end up pulling a couple kills, which gets the Wukong into an okay place in this game. But now they've given over a kill to both solo laners and 2 kills to the bot lane. Yes, your Wukong is strong. Yes, maybe you can leverage that into a handful of ganks here or there. Maybe that means that the jungle 1-to-1 matchup isn't going to be favorable. You know what it's not going to do? Help these lanes that are going to be losing for the foreseeable future because you're not only down gold, now you're down double buffs on this bottom side. So, it's not a position you want to find yourself in if you're Illinois College.
No, not at all. Illinois College in a rough way at the start of this game. Trying to make some plays happen, but check this out. 255 in the vicinity. Usopp is getting chunked and zapped, but the Shuriken misses its mark. 255 finishes off the kill. SD situation in the bot lane, but no root comes about it, so Coda stays fine and dandy.
Yeah, Killian can actually TP back to this lane too, because they're just too low of health bar to actually force them away from the wave. And the wave's not even crashed yet. Like the cannon is even going to go down. What
Killian! Killian, there's a lot of minions there. He lost half your HP bar. Wukong's still there. Killian's a little zesty right now.
Yeah, I think you just, I guess it's possible you didn't know the Wukong was going to be there, and that was the real thing that was preventing him from doing anything. We can see that, obviously, because we're omnipotent, but, they are not. So Killian probably TP's back, thinks, okay, all I need is an EW to actually bring down Usopp. Ends up not being able to hit the W or not having enough damage with the W. And then, of course, tanks the wave for a little bit of time. I'm mostly upset because he missed the cannon. If you hadn't missed the cannon, I would have been like, okay, you're fine, Killian. I don't care that you lost a decent amount of your health. But losing the cannon is criminal and deserves punishment of the highest order, to be quite honest.
Well, somebody who doesn't deserve punishment right now is 255. 3-1-0 on this Wukong. Big shining light for IAC. 255 having a great game for themselves. As well as Dicey just scaling up. They're playing that Predator Vigar as well.
Yeah, that was of interest to me. Somehow, we're in a meta where Vigar takes Predator and Annie does not, and I'm still just absolutely baffled by that fact because the two champions can do similar things with that rune, being able to take. And Vigar getting out of lane against the LeBlanc with this kind of wave clear nowadays, it feels a little difficult to do. I'm surprised that Dicey isn't just going for first strike because if LeBlanc jumps in, then you can throw out a Q, you can throw out additional damage, and at minimum get some gold back for it, but just not the case. Instead, wants to be active on the map, find cages.
Hard to do inside of this matchup, though, as you were talking about, and as you highlighted with the patch changes that we've seen on LeBlanc that have kind of flown under the radar. A little bit more sustainability for the Queen of Deception, LeBlanc. Coda threatening from the Tri-Brush. This is going to be a Dragon take for Ottawa Braves.
Yeah, there's an interesting mechanic that kind of comes about from Vigar having the Predator. Ooh, actually, waiting a little bit because there's a dragon and I was waiting to see if Killian pop an ultimate, but ends up not doing so. There's this cool little interaction that I knew existed for specifically, Vigar likes to abuse it quite a bit, but it actually works with Predator too, where Predator only works on an auto attack, which means that if you press Predator inside of a fight and you don't auto attack anybody, you just get the movement speed that you proc from it. You do the same thing with Deadman's Plate, where if you don't auto anybody as a mage with Deadman's Plate, you just get permanent move speed, so you're just ghosting all the time, always, for absolutely nothing other than not auto attacking. And if you're playing Vigar, you probably should be auto attacking most of the time anyway, so it just helps you to have that rune, have that item.
Yeah, it's really cool, too, because it's also very satisfying to hit Predator and run up on somebody and burst them, 100-0. Feels really good, bro. It's great. Killian with the slicing maelstrom. Usopp is trying to cut down this ninja with the scissors, and scissors beat Shuriken. Usopp with the solo kill top lane.
Yeah, the Gwen's damage cannot be underestimated by just how strong that the Gwen is right now. Gwen has popped so much up in the recent meta. Now Trickster, level 5.
This is Usopp's death. You don't have any way to get away. That's a red buff J4. Dicey took a little bit of damage. Ignite was used. Riversided. The primordial burst. It came through. Can he get it? The chain.
No way!
Finish it. Oh. That is another kill on the 255, but you take the 1-for-1 when there's 2 other members in your lane.
They actually couldn't get close enough to be able to actually make the kill happen before the chains would get the kill onto the Vygar. Ends up being just the 1-for-1, like you said. That was crazy to me. That felt like it should have been an easy kind of trade, and Dicey should have been fine right there. Instead, burnt the flash and Riversided. Again, expertise on LeBlanc, being able to walk away with a trade kill right there was magic.
And the right champion do just that. Rift Herald currently being fought over. Shelly having a hard time hitting her head against the wall. It's going to regen. Wow, they moved really fast there. But somebody who's also moving fast is Sage Wabe, who is moving around. Oh, Riverside! All right, well, we got another magic track. We got to see an HP bar disappear. But now Riverside is going to show another magic track where they disappear. 255 on a killing spree. 5-1 on this Wukong.
There's big trades kind of all over the place all the time between these two teams. 9 minutes in, we've got 13 kills already, Travis, because these two teams are just constantly with the brawling gloves out as much as possible. Riverside is getting punished, but the fact that Riverside is finding these kills now on the LeBlanc, and especially since like it's a little easier to farm minions with the Q changes, maybe not in the later portion, but definitely in the early portion of the game, it means that when the map breaks apart and there's lapses of vision that LeBlanc can kind of take advantage of, that Riverside is going to be able to kind of do that. Right now, already finding them in the midst of like 3 members in the mid lane when you have all this worry to kind of take into consideration, the fact that Riverside is finding kills now is a little bit ridiculous. And notice, the whole time, this Kai'Sa has just been alone to farm away at this bottom tower, just chunk it out. Look at that, 2.5, almost 4, or my bad, 3.5, almost 4 plates down on that bottom tower. And that's most of the gold that Levi Pug has. Yes, you've gotten a couple of kills, but that's still huge.
All right, well, Vygar is not enjoying the Jarvan in this point in time. Riverside is able to quickly follow up to. Big weaknesses of Vygar is you got tiny legs.
Yes, being able to escape is a difficulty against multiple champions with dashes. Yes, you did have the box, which I think was helpful for a bit, but the Cataclysm actually locked him out of his own box, and it didn't end up stunning anybody, which was an unfortunate side effect of using that pretty early in the process there.
It's going about. Riverside got a nice push in. Going to come up to this top side of the map. Maybe just checking for a blue buff, you know. Wukong was doing it. It's at the good time to be able to get a nice little buff for yourself. But we'll have vision. They ping out the Wukong in the mid lane. And look at the vision they actually have over here towards the top side. The second Wukong enters up there, they're going to know.
Yeah, and all these camps are up. So, like, it's 255, who's kind of on the bottom side of the map, maybe looking at the dragon right now. Killian just gets kind of free space to do anything that they please at the moment. When LeBlanc drops off the map as well, like, Usopp has to play very respectfully, as on the bottom side of the force.
Yeah, Depth Charge and Quicken and used here. Dredgeline goes in, connect. Kai'Sa is gone. That's a shutdown going over to Sagewabe as Coda is next up on the list. 255 is on a rampage.
255 is playing out of their mind right now on this Wukong, making this game look so simple. Nobody else on the team is really kind of popping off the way that 255 is, and so he has to stand up for the team, has to be able to kind of put out the damage, has to be active to make sure the team is still staying relevant in the gold score, on the map presence. And you know what? 255 is actually making it work really effectively. Bottom side play to help salvage a little bit, got a good shutdown onto the Kai'Sa, is going to grab up this dragon, tie up the dragon count as well. And this whole time, again, because Killian has actually been relatively low health, Usopp has not been under any threat at all of roams from Riverside or the other side of the map's presence that was there. So it's just been free for Gwen to kind of sit in this laning phase and not really feel the punishment of having to worry about who's in the fog of war. There just hasn't been the pressure there for the side of Ottawa.
How cool is it, right, that Illinois College is putting this much pressure down onto the team that just got #1 seed? The Primordial Burst is there. Tritzer has to flash to be able to escape. Riverside finishes off the kill, but Dicey almost outplays in that situation. But still, it's an 8-9 game. Dragons are even. We're in that 12.5-minute mark. with gold being even as well. This is a battle between the 7th seed and the 1st seed at the current moment in time at the end of the season. And they are putting up one hell of a good fight right now. And Rays, they got to be a little bit worried, I feel like, as this game goes on.
I don't know that they want to stress super heavily about this because it's one of those circumstances where it feels like they still have like very easy avenues to win. One big one is, again, Riverside's 5 kills on the block already has a completed Ludens. When the Sorks are through, like, I feel like this champion is about to go absolutely ridiculous when Riverside can pilot it outside of just the pure one-on-one lane case. Here's Trickster again to topside too.
Tripster coming back over, says, all right, Killian, I see you need me, but Killian taking so much damage. The Gwen almost turns it around. 255 is going to finish off the kill. You can flash away, but that staff has extendo mode built in. Cyclone comes out, let it rip, but the only thing that is ripped is 255.
And that is a massive win for Trickster, because Trickster ends up pulling, I think, both kills right there, and it got a massive shutdown over 255 to pick up a couple hundred. I probably just picked up 1,000 gold overall from that play. Bottom side, too.
Yet again, another Dredge line. Use that Featherstorm, tries to pull it in, doesn't get the blow they wanted. Levi gets another kill, and the Kaisa is growing as a threat more so.
They are. It's a difficulty. Right now, the Xayah is just too far behind in this game to actually make anything happen alongside the Nautilus. This like Kaisa Rakan is such a potent dive threat against them that any amount of chip damage onto the Xayah whatsoever is making it difficult for them to have to deal with. And actually, stopping the back of Lone Force means Lone Force is going to be stuck here about the same amount of time as Levi, Pug, and Coda. So while Xayah will have some free time, another play.
Yeah, another Cataclysm. The needlework comes in. This champion feels insane because they're 1-4, right? But they are not going down without a fight. This Gwen is really shredding those HP bars in these gank attempts.
It is, but now the problem is Trickster has actually kind of popped off beyond belief in the last couple of minutes. It just finished Ball Malmortius. It's a whole second. I feel like it was just a minute ago that Trickster had Gore Drinker exclusively and now just has them all Malmortius completed, readily available for this page of the game. And you can see also that's Riverside damage. I mean, that wasn't even the full combo. That was no W. You didn't hit the dash because you were using it just to get in mobility. It's just double sigil alongside the chain is enough to nearly kill Sage. That's insane. Like, it's just actually ridiculous to think that's how much damage they've got right now between every character on the map. As slowly, Ottawa has just, like, put themselves in a 5,000 gold advantage. It feels like a minute ago we were like, oh, wow, they're dead even. And now, out of what seems like nowhere, immediately Ottawa is just at a huge
look at the gold.
Advantage.
It's literally been almost 5 minutes since that happened. And Illinois College, they got to find ways to breathe new life into them. The big problem that they're having to face right now, you can see in the goal, 255 is the only person who's able to stand up to the 4 carries from Ottawa Braves. And that's right, I'm saying 4 carries because all 4 of them are coming in and doing a heap of amount of damage.
They are. Every single one of them has quite a bit to actually deal with now. It's even crazier because, like, Riverside had started stacking a Magi, so as picks and stuff come through, that's going to get even worse for this team. Like, the Kennen just finished Rocket Belt alongside the Sorks. Like, a really, really good single target damage from close enough to be able to rip through somebody. And when the ultimate, the Slicing Maelstrom comes out, you can actually get through most of a team as well. There are members who are strong. Dicey can still assassinate somebody with a big ult. Like 255 and Usopp probably have enough through damage to actually still win a team fight if they don't just get destroyed by Trickster and Killian. The problem is, again, I think there's just too much upfront damage from Ottawa that there's no turn. Like, Illinois is not going to be able to use 255 Cyclone. They're not going to be able to use the needlework coming out from the Gwen to actually generate any kind of positive outcome here before they're already devastated by everything that's coming through from Ottawa.
It's kind of a problem where the carries feel like they're a bit neutralized, right? Like, none of the carries have huge advantages for themselves. All the gold is on one person. They're looking to take advantage of that. Koga gets a nice triumph onto 2 members. Cyclone goes on through. Whoa. Levi gets the kill. Xayah falling. 255 trying to make magic happen, but has to flash over the wall and make a quick retreat. Riverside on the prowl. Will store it back in place. Dicey caught out of position. Trickster says, I don't want Dragon. I want Blood.
And now Usopp wants to find this tower.
Yeah, this is underneath the tower, too. They're going to tank at least 1 tower shot here. Killian laying in a good amount of hurt. Riverside it is here. The back from Killian just knows that kill belongs to Riverside, and he called dibs. Oh, Brave are in firm control all of a sudden.
They are. Stacking the Magi's is river-sided, and again, these fights are split up enough, though, where it feels like the LeBlanc is actually getting a ridiculous amount of value just assassinating people. You see Trickster's got the damage to do it against Sage, but it's insane what the LeBlanc's able to do now, especially 10 stacks on the Magi's with penetration, now has an alternator as well. There's just way too much fast burst damage that nobody is able to really live through on the side of Illinois College. They were putting up a hell of a fight at the beginning of this game. 255 was trying to lift his team into a position where they could contest, but Trickster has just gotten up to too much mischief over the last few minutes and has really taken over the game for Ottawa.
Continue to press the advantage forward. Harold moving very fastly. He says, I want a piece of this tower. Let me get in there. Let me get that charge off. Dicey. Hit that eye. There you go. Gets rid of that. River-sided. Sees Usopp. Doesn't want to see them anymore.
Oh, just goes back over the wall. And again,
oh my god! Oh!
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. There's just too much damage now on LeBlanc. Like, that's what Riverside can do. If anybody is out of vision, if anybody is within range and LeBlanc is invisible, there's, like, no way you're living. Look at where we're at. Like, Dicey's got one no magic mantle. There's no magic resist on Sage. There's only just now a Hexdrinker on Wukong, and I think purchased because of what just happened, unfortunately. The Merc Treads on Gwen will help a little bit, but they're too slow. Like, the magic resist has come in far too slow for this team.
This is just struggling. I'm honestly, after this game, I'm going. If next time I play mid, I'm banning LeBlanc. Just because of this game alone. Usopp is underneath the tower, but it's not safety, or is it? Trickster. The HP disappears in a blink of an eye. This Gwen might be 1 in 5, but puts in the work as needed. Baby Rage Cage coming in it. Trickster is running away, getting some HP going.
I'm with Hyper on this one. I was a big LeBlanc player back in the day, and while not quite the same, it's not quite the same as that old bounce mechanic that LeBlanc had, which was definitely not healthy for the game because she had like insane wave clear alongside being the assassin that she is normally. But even with the new LeBlanc, I'm really hoping that it's more fun to kind of wave clear because that's always been my problem on her anyway.
My thing was actually a fun thing. When I first started playing the game, I played with IRL friends, right? One of them had their IGN as LeBlanc face roll because they used to always just be like, yeah, you just roll your face across the keyboard as LeBlanc back in the day.
Kind of true.
So I used to I never got the chance to play it, but nowadays I just rather not play against it. My champion pool does not appreciate LeBlanc bursting me down, okay?
yeah, I get you. I was reading
That's an interesting factoid.
Non-mage mid players, they defaulted to the most. Yeah, that is a little bit interesting. Especially because LeBlanc is so hard to play. I don't get. I mean,
farm champions is the motto, I guess. 255 feeling that getting farmed as well, right alongside a Gromp at the same time. Usopp in the slicing Maelstrom as well. That's 2 kills, Ottawa Braves. And they are just picking apart Illinois College around every single objective inside their jungle under a tower. It doesn't matter where you're at.
There is a Cataclysm still for Trickster. Riverside's ultimate's going to be back up. They cannot step in here. If they step in here, they're going to get absolutely devastated.
Sage is going to find that they have to use the Featherstorm. Coda gets devastated, though. Others get flipped and thrown at their face. But still, it's Baron for Ottawa Braves. But they still take that every day of the week. Unfortunately, looking for somebody to be able to grab. They're going to be able to catch on to one member. That's Trickster.
No, what are you doing?
And puts it in with catastrophic results. But the teleport, it is Usopp coming to the rescue. Riverside is over the wall, is looking to land a couple shots here and there. Throw out a couple chains, get that supportive. Will be a 1-for-1. Usopp falls, but still have the Kaisa. They still have the LeBlanc. They still have Baron.
For a second there, I bought that, like, Trickster wasn't going to be able to get off, like, an insane Cataclysm.
Yeah.
And then all 3 members walked into the same square, and I'm like, what is happening? That is the most criminal positioning. Good lord. I know they're panicking and they're trying not to die right there, but how, like that literally lined them up like fish in a barrel for that ultimate to come through. If Trickster were a little more powerful, I feel like he would have just triple killed all 3 of them with a single use ultimate right there. And they do find a couple decent picks on the backside because now Trickster's not going to have Baron. Killian not having Baron, I think, is even more influential because you have TP, so you could split if you're the Kennen. but it's just not going to matter. I mean, they're now up 10,000 gold in 22 minutes in the game. They're one dragon away from a Mountain Soul against this team. Like, who is killing them if they've got Mountain Soul? These resistances, the extra shield that you're going to have, with all the damage that you've got up front that they have to deal with, you're basically killing somebody or two people at the front end of a fight anyway, let alone that you're just, like, not dealing damage to them anymore. Ottawa, insanely winning in this one.
It's up to them to really close out the game, and it feels like they're going to continue playing their style of picking apart Illinois College. It's been the scrappier fights where Ottawa Braves has looked their best in terms of the team fights, where Riverside is able to pick apart the pieces as they choose, and it gives so much room for Levi to really just pop off inside of these matches. You can see Illinois College are looking for a flank angle. Bansheesville was completed on the Vigard. They have the Predator available. They're going to look to see if they can zoom in. Cyclone goes around off the flank. Levi taking a good amount of damage off of it. Nice Charm connects onto one key member, but Coda hard stuffs it. The Cataclysm! Trickster coming around the bend. Lays in the damage. Usopp trying to clean things up. Keep an eye on them, but their HP bar. They are able to shred, but they get torn asunder. Illinois College, they fall and they are aced.
Like, Illinois College had like a full 5 seconds before Trickster got to that fight, a full 10 seconds before Killian got to that fight, and they still got washed in that one. They could not make anything stick to Levi. They could not actually find damage under Riverside basically at all. Yes, they get Coda, but at that point, Trickster finds a dirty 3-person ultimate. Then you get Kennen on the backside, who didn't even have to pop Slicing Maelstrom because the fight was done by that point. The game is over, unfortunately, Travis. Ottawa, I mean, they were fighting hand in hand with Illinois for the first 10 minutes of this game, but as soon as that 12-minute mark broke, this has been all the Braves all game long.
The Braves. I cannot understate how even this game was 10 minutes ago, right? And then
half the game, half the game was insane. It was looking actually like Illinois was going to find some avenue to take an advantage, and then out of nowhere, it was just like, nope.
False hope. Usopp feeling a little bit of that at the moment. They try to go up, farm up a wave. Trickster and Riverside, a dynamic duo that is formed inside of the MEC in the later half of the season. They have been terrorizing everyone, and we're seeing a full display of that here inside this game as well.
Yeah, it's an exciting time because if more champions like this kind of enter the meta, I think that's going to be sick. We're like, again, if Jarvan comes in, you have a really, really big backliner. Oh, Levi just wants 255.
Yeah, just wants 255. Here we go, though. Levi is just tearing apart. It's a 10-1-5 Kai'Sa, bro. This is a legendary Kai'Sa. This is the moment in time that Kai'Sa's dream of getting to, where you got your quick blades, you got your Kraken. Everything is good. Life is great right now.
Life is fantastic right now if you are Levi Pug. And especially because, like, you look at everybody else, and, like, LeBlanc has to jump in, Kennen has to jump in, Jarvan has to jump in. Like, you get your pick of the litter of where you want to attack in a fight. You just say, okay, I'm going to ult here, and I'm going to assassinate 2 people, and there's nothing they can do about it. And what are they going to do? Counter dive? No, they're not, because they cannot do that. Because otherwise, they're just leaving the rest of their team out to dry. And it's a difficulty. Illinois College can't kite backwards. They cannot kind of make any forcing moves. Instead, they just kind of pack it up for game number 2, probably.
Yeah, one last defense to come about at this moment in time, as you got a freeze frame, I believe.
This is a great defense, to be quite honest.
Yeah, pretty good defense that comes out. Okay, that when the game gets suspended in time, right? I see pop the hyperbolic time chamber button.
You can't lose if it never gets finished.
Exactly. Hashtag remake. Wait. Oh, they're getting a charm. Good. It gets everybody. All 5 members. Usopp goes down. Trickster goes onto the killing spree. Killian's trying to just end the game. There's a Cataclysm onto the side. The Slicing Maelstrom comes out as well. That Storm is there, but they do not use the Blade Caller just yet. Get off a good amount of damage. Sage doing the work, but Levi has that killer instinct, and it demands blood.
50 kills in 26 minutes, Travis. 50 kills in 26 minutes. Also, this was an AP Jarvan, in case you didn't know. Don't look at Trickster's itemization when the game ends or anything like that. But yeah, it's really, really funny to watch. He actually, why would he do that?
That was our spicy build. That was our spicy build that week.
That's true. That was a spicy build of the day. Definitely don't go back and watch the rest of the VOD. It was 100% AP Jarvan. But
they were absolutely.
Yeah, again, 12 minutes, that break point. What it really came down to, I think, is that Trickster just kept making ganks stick. Like, Trickster was able to say, I'll fight between Gwen's ultimates. I'll jump jump between mid and bot. I'll go down into bot side and like they gank there. And 255 just could not keep up. 255 was like, I'm doing my best, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best here. I've got 7 kills in 12 minutes. What do you want from me? And Trix is just like, I will gank every lane constantly and take 0 farm for the next 20 minutes if it means that you will pass out from exhaustion. And that's kind of exactly what Trickster did.
It really felt like it. I actually think this was the epitome of like the person with the endless stamina in like anime and stuff like that. They go against somebody who is just popping off, they're doing great, and it's just like, why won't you stay down? And the person's just like popping off across the map. I mean, the gold got spread out amongst Ottawa Braves, and I do feel like that was the decisive moment. We got to see some good moments come out from this squad from Illinois College. The big one I immediately look at is Usopp on the top side of the map. I think the Gwen looked good. Even in the 1v2 scenarios, they actually almost found kills. A lot of the times, whenever Jarvan would come up there. So, good stuff to Usopp. 255, you tried, but once it hit a certain moment, right, you were talking about it, not everybody can keep up with the constant gank pressure that this Jarvan was laying out across the map.
And honestly, even if there weren't a bunch of gank pressure from Jarvan, the only places where they were taking wins was when Wukong was showing up for fights. Because like if Wukong wasn't there, you were down in top lane, you're still able to fight back because the Gwen is a very powerful champion. Usopp was piloting it really well. I think that was highlighted, and I think it's something that they should bring back for game number 2. But ultimately, like Kennen was still a ranged harass champion and was getting decent chunk damage on the tower consistently, even without Jarvan. Mid lane was being dominated. I mean, LeBlanc got really spiked ahead because of a couple of ganks from Jarvan, but honestly, LeBlanc was dropping Vygar's health bar the entirety of the game, and bot lane was just outright winning. Like Kai'Sa Rakan was just winning the 2v2 on the bottom side. So without 225, then it was, or 255, my apologies. Without 255, the game was probably just chalked anyway from the side of Illinois College. That's why I was like, okay, great, they have something working. Like 255 is able to actually win their lanes and do something for them, which is why it was like Trickster's like, okay, my turn now, and then just does the exact same thing, and again, it's right back to a winning situation.
We'll see what Illinois College has, right? There's still another series here. I'm impressed with the fact that they did have it where they were duking back and forth with them until that 13-minute mark happened, and then all of a sudden the floodgates were let loose. Hats off to you on that one, but Ottawa Braves, they still look strong. They are looking like that first seed team. They are crushing it out here. It's up to Illinois College to figure out what their response will be. So we're going to take ourselves a short break. When we come back from said break, we'll be seeing what the response will be from IC as they look to continue and take on Ottawa Braves. Do not touch that browser. Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MEC. My name's Travis D. I'm joined with Rebel Thoughts. Together, we make the cutest duo in the MEC. How are you doing? Are you ready?
I'm very good, and I appreciate your kind words. Yes, thank you. My pensive look. I don't like my pensive look.
Well, hey, look. We got ourselves a fun little series here. We got IC taking on Ottawa Braves. Braves still looking like a first seed team inside the NBC. IC, they did go blow for blow with them for quite a bit of time, but you talked about it earlier. Eventually, the blows, they added up.
It was just too much. They got too exhausted too quickly, burned out of gas, and then they just had nothing left in the game, which is fair because, again, outside of topside, top lane specifically, it felt like their lanes were just kind of getting slowly worn down by their lane opponents, and that's why Trickster eventually was just like, it's just hacksaw, just boom, it's getting taken off. We're sawing it down, and it's just going to break, and that's why the legs of the table, 3 of them were taken down before any sort of ability to stay sturdy kind of kept together. So for IC, you got to find a way to keep those legs on before the game is just completely lost, right? Like, you have to keep mid lane relevant. You have to keep bot lane relevant. If you do those things and you have a powerful Gwen and a powerful Wukong, then the fights look a lot different. Then they look a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it was the fact that 255 kind of felt like they were getting jerked around towards the end of towards the beginning of the end for them inside that game, where we got into that 14-15 minute mark. The chain gank started happening from Jarvan on the top side of the map. The Gwen got put behind. And then all of a sudden the ganks started finding their footing, right? Like 255 can't constantly trade with the Jarvan in that scenario. Not if they're just trying to keep up farm. And even then, we saw it. Riverside going in, putting down those wards, tracking the opposition, making sure 255, wherever they were, they knew about it. It becomes very hard. A net felt like it was cast, and they got tangled up in it.
You know what's really funny is I think I called 255 225. And you want to the roundabout way I got there was that I was thinking 225 225 was a player on Pentanet. And I was thinking about Pentanet talking. It was a whole discussion about taking. Eventually, it gets to 113, the jungler that played with like in LFL and a bunch of times. And somehow I made that connection and I was just all over the place. So I was wondering how I came to that. But 255.
Maybe 255 is a fan.
Maybe 255 is just that player because I don't think either one of them play anymore. So maybe this is the retirement home for an ex-OCE/LFL player.
We just don't know about it yet.
That's true. It would be kind of sick. So
they're living incognito. They're filming their own life documentary out here.
Facts. Now in this game, again, it requires a pretty monstrous performance for 255 to be able to match what Trickster does at the beginning of the game. So again, for me, finding anything that works, I think if you have the same game all over again, but you have Lone Force on a superior support, one that helps out in the 2v2 on the bottom side, one that maybe gets a winning position for the 2v2 on the bottom side, probably looks like a very different game, probably a lot more competitive for a lot longer. So for IC, I want to see them salvage that, right? Don't blind Nautilus. Don't take Nautilus into a matchup like that. Give me Thresh. I think Thresh would have been perfectly fine in that situation. Get something even more dominant for Lone Force. Let them go a little bit crazy in this game, right? Their backs against the wall. They have 1 loss left this season before you step into playoffs. Get spicy. Let it all out, all right? Like, we're not here to hold things back.
I'm with you on this. I think probably you swing for the fences. Unfortunately, one of the big things is Braves is going to make sure that you're going to be limited on how many times you can swing at the plate. They're going to give you plenty of close calls that are hard to figure out if you should even try to swing on. And by doing such, they get rid of Heimerdinger, right? That just makes sense. Icy has gotten rid of the Kindred. I'm guessing they're probably going to get rid of the Graves again because that is just a Trickster champion. I'm curious more so on what Ottawa Braves are bringing in because, like I said, they did promise me something spicy. And that game, I'm not considering spicy.
Nah, that wasn't a particularly spicy game. In fact, actually, I wouldn't be shocked if they went into playoffs and that was just their tech that they prepare for playoffs because it's like, okay. Like, that seems like a reasonable set of champions that you would want in most roles inside of playoffs. The only thing is maybe, like, you would want, like, Gnar instead of Kennen if you're not as practiced on it. It seemed like Killian was maybe a little bit, I'm not saying unpracticed or bad at it, but he's probably better on the Gnar than the Kennen. So, like, outside of that, it was probably just, like, Thanos composition coming through from Ottawa Braves.
Poor Levi. They can never escape the Varus. We were talking about it, man. We were talking about it in the interview last week. If Koda's not playing Ashe, then they're just going to first pick the Varus for Levi. It is up and available if they do want to take it for Koda, but you can see Illinois College. They've grabbed Ezreal for themselves. This is a Sage Wabe champion for sure.
Yeah, and we got a Kai Kai replacement here with Sagewabe with the Ezreal pickup. It has been getting better as of late as a champion. I actually like it into a lot of certain matchups, and it can get pretty aggressive in the laning phase if you've got a right janking jungler. I am a little bit weary about taking it alongside the Sejuani because I have seen too many Sejuani players not be able to utilize this effectively into bottom lane ganks in any capacity, especially now that you got Varus and you can go lethality, and Trickster getting the Graves, meaning that he can just power farm. Feels like 255 now is under quite a bit of pressure to simply have to make something happen at the beginning of the game.
I do want to say real quick, I've been wary about having Ezreals on my team. I love playing Ezreal right now. I'm a big Ezreal player. Love playing it. Own all the skins for Ezreal. It's cost me quite a significant amount of my wallet. However, I will say, I have a friend who plays bot lane that I almost always play with, and they keep telling me about Moonstone Ezreal, and I want to shut my ears off every single time. I've gotten into so many games where we end it, like it feels like I'm on a timer to stop the game from going to the point where I have to witness it. But it is a thing that they keep preaching to me about, and I'm like, please stop it. Stop doing this to me.
You are not allowed to pick Moonstone Ezreal unless your name is Knight and you're playing out of the LPL, or your name is Chovy and you're playing out of the LCK, all right? Those players, do you know why it works for them? Because they hit every damn skill shot. That's why. If you miss a skill shot, you don't get to play Moonstone Ezreal. When you have 100% Q rate, then you can play the champion, all right? Show me that target practice. Show me that dummy practice. Show me that game.
They need aim lab for the League of Legends now.
Aim lab with Ezreal to prove that you can use Moonstone, yeah.
Seeing as the rest of the comps are going about, Lone Force is back onto the Karma here. Could be a dicey champion. Dicey does like to play more supportive role with their champion pool, so it could be a dicey Karma, but the Gragas as well does seem like that is going to be going into Killian's hands more than likely, though we have seen it go into the mid lane from time to time.
It's entirely possible. And Riverside, it seems like somebody that would have this prepped. For some reason, it's digging into the back of my brain somewhere that I have seen a Riverside Gragas even before this year when it became popular to play this champion out of the mid lane. But it is a little more matchup dependent. You have to have kind of relatively standard mages against it to make it work. So, in my opinion, it's really good against mages that kind of poke you to begin the game. Annoying mages like Azir. If you pick an Azir and you pick Gragas into it, like, you have good wave clear that matches what Azir is going to be able to do. You have harass that can match Azir, and the difference is you get sustained from throwing your abilities. So that's why, like, I've seen that pop up really heavily. I think it's a really good pick actually in a lot of circumstances, and especially when you're running Graves out of the jungle, you want that support. It's a perfect position for it. Just saying, I just mentioned the Azir being one of those champions that you could really. You're not going to punish the Azir with it, but you're definitely not getting the same value that Azir normally has in other mages.
Does leap into a thing where they're giving Usopp the counter pick. Camille and Jats were taken off the board. This is a Killian special here if they lock that in. That is a Kled that could be a possibility. It is still hovered, hasn't been locked. It's River-sided LeBlanc yet again.
Okay, now it's a question of, is it going to be top Gragas or support Gragas? Because I still haven't seen a support Gragas quite yet, but it's still possible to throw down into that role. So I'm looking forward to somebody doing it. Now we're not going to get it. A Mumu support would be a wild addition to this roster. Is that you do not usually play this with Varus. You usually play this with like really engagey champions like Samira. That makes a little more sense. Okay.
So, all right, we have a Senna coming in. We've seen Senna pop up a little bit more. I remember the combo that has recently popped up in LCK was the Cho'Gath. Go ahead. Yeah, no, I'm down. I'm with this. Usopp, are you going to... Ow! Was that the producer or was that Usopp?
Probably the producer. It usually
Probably
is.
Was. Yeah, that was the producer.
Random.
I was like, that's such a wild champion that the producer wouldn't hover.
Yeah, like, no.
You got a little smart that one. That was a smart one. That was a smart hover.
I was hyped for it, but I knew it was never going to happen because you don't pick it in a Gragas.
I will say, Quinn's one of those champions that I absolute hate laning against, but I'm okay with anybody picking it because It's okay. She's going to be useless after the laning phase.
No. It popped up recently in LPL as a counter pick to Renekton again, it's been a long time since that's really been the case, and it brought back old memories, man. It really did. I was excited for it, so I doubt we're gonna get it anytime soon. It is strong right now, but it doesn't have good matchups at all. Coming back to this, though, again, the Senna alongside the Varus, very heavy range combination that I have to deal with. Like, even as Ezreal, you have a very legitimate threat of being poked out of a laning phase by this Varus-Senna combination because of how much through damage and how much range that these two actually have. I'm a little worried for that prospect in general from IC because, like, Sejuani gets out-kited, Aatrox gets out-kited. Like, they're so far back. It's like you're playing a team of Xeraths right now, where it's like, okay, you have to get through a Gragas, you have to get through a Graves, and only once you're through those two champions, you get to actually access Varus and Senna in the backline. And who's diving? Azir? Ezreal? Like, it's not going to work. Like, you're going to have to work front to back ahead of time.
Yeah, your team fighting is Sejuani ults, and then Karma gets that mantra shield up on everybody, speeds up, and you hope that you run at them and don't have to catch too many bullets or stray arrows in the meantime. But it does raise up the question. I think you bring up an excellent point, right? Varus, Senna, there'll probably be that backline that's going through. Yeah, you go through the Gragas, which is a hard target. The body slam, explosive cast, lots of displacement there. My worry is the fact that, yet again, we saw in the last game, Riverside is more than happy to come from those interesting angles, come from the side, flank into these team fights, go for those deep angles. And if you're charging in, that just means Riverside has all the space in the world to work with.
Yeah, not to mention, like, if you're Ezreal in this game and you're not very cautious about your positioning against Riverside, you're going to get destroyed. It doesn't matter if shields come through from Lone Force, you're not shielding the damage that, like, LeBlanc will overkill an Ezreal so many times rather than anything else. And then if you start building Magicus, like you throw a Mob Malmortius onto your build path, that's a decent amount of damage that's lost because you can't also build Frozen Heart, so, like, you're not going to be able to do that. Although I don't think you need Frozen Heart in a game like this, so maybe you could swap one for the other. But then, again, depends where your build is. If Riverside ends up 2 items and then you start building Maw as your second, your third item, you're really losing quite a bit of damage that the Ezreal needs to kind of play this front to back that the team is requiring on the side of IC. So you do have to be a bit careful about the trade-off of protection versus damage for Sagiwabe, but we'll see whether that ends up coming up or not. Kind of contingent on the way the game plays. See shadows moving behind me.
Yeah, I was about to say I can see the shadows dancing a little bit there, but yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. I think I like Aatrox when there's a range disadvantage too, right? Like I do like it when there's like the enemy team takes like a very low range composition. I do not like it into this cup. There's double. You've got a LeBlanc, a Varus, and a Senna. When are you going to be able to get onto them as the Aatrox? Why is there so many pings? Brave, stop it! I see those. They are pinging away at Killian.
And I will say if Usopp plays this properly, what you'll be doing is flanking on this Aatrox, which is it is really strong. There are a number of people that kind of did this back when Aatrox was most recently really heavy in the meta, like before the most recent time. Wait, what's going on?
We're just pinging Killian. It's just Mia pinging him over and over. Lone Force got out of position. It all worked out, all according to Killian's plan.
Yes, the one deficit here is that Killian, unfortunately, now started body the E instead of starting the Q, so the wave control is going to be a little hard for Killian, but I don't think he really cares. I think he's just here to goon, and they got the flash out of the Karma to start off the game, so feeling great about that one. It's a big win.
Yeah, big win. Killian gets to also have a moment of like, stop pinging me, guys! I blew their flash, look at that! But, yeah, I'm with you on the fact of, like, it's just, you know, when you take Gragas, top lane, it's almost like you're neutralizing your lane is usually like the focus, right? Usopp is going to tag you. You do have to be precautious about Usopp, though, because one of the things I've been very impressed with this top laner, ever since they've come in, they are so good at being able to just lane. They play these aggressive laners in the top side brilliantly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Usopp was a bright spot in the last game, and again, they've been flexed around quite a bit, and I think part of that is that they are likely somebody who just understands the game across all roles pretty well. I think that's pretty indicative from a lot of the play that we've seen of him all season. So Usopp, playing really, really good League of Legends, has been an absolute unit for this squad, being able to kind of provide everything that they need, being able to fill in as necessary.
You just call him Usopp?
Usopp.
He called him Yusuf. I was like, wait, who?
His name's Up Dog.
Up Dog. Play the name game inside of the MEC. That should be some content. Right
That's
there.
a solid content piece right there.
Yeah, say these IGNs.
You come up with nicknames that are incredibly similar to somebody's name, and you try to predict who it is that it's actually like predicting. So yeah, Blonde would have been impossible to get because you could have picked any one of his 800 aliases and done a nickname, and you would never know.
A new name once per week. See if Braves. Somebody has to take up that flag if Blonde is not playing at the current moment in time.
Go.
Trickster? Held back a little bit on it. Now they see. Usopp's here. Tags him with the sword. 255. Assistance is here. It is needed. That's first blood. That's the noise that the Gragas made. As they body slammed into Usopp. Usopp died.
Yeah, Usopp right there, again, had the flash. Did not respect that the flash body slam could come through from the Gragas. Got CC changed to absolute to death. I think it was possible. They thought that with 255 you could maybe turn on that play, but just lost too much health to the Graves on the immediate kind of engagement. As
heal being used. Levi taking a good amount of damage. They're out of mana as well. Oh, Coda! That was incredibly aggressive. A little bit overzealous. You're gonna get tethered and Lone Force. Good kill. 255's up here to the top side. Trickster was coming up here to try and help out, but that is Killian's death. And Trickster stays alive, Rebel if you will. The death sound for Gragas.
Yeah! My bad.
Alright.
And Dicey.
Up you're ready. Dicey going in. 1v1. Doesn't get it.
Minions?
Rebel.
This game's insane.
Minions? Wow.
That's just nuts.
No! Wait, whoa! No!
What is happening?
Levi had enough mana to double kill as well. What is happening indeed, Rebel? What the hell?
It's an inting competition, Travis. We've stumbled into an inting competition. Who can make inting look the coolest in this game? Everybody is getting in on the action right now. Oh, and back to topside. Can Usopp do it? Show us how it's done, Usopp.
Usopp prepared for big sword. Just going to be able to slam it on down. Can't get the last bit of it. Killian, will they fall? They're jugging. Usopp turns their attention to the boy with the shotgun. Goes back to All Code Gaming. It's there, flashes over the wall. It says enough of this shit.
He's like, I'm sick of this. Flashing. Never gonna suspect the flash coming through. Trickster has now gotten like a kill on top side, an assist on top side, and stole like 8 or 9 minions from Killian just because of the number of minions that have been in the way when he's been auto-attacking away the rest of the team. Illinois College did get a response on bot side. 255 was able to get something, but now you do have the massive worry that the Graves is going to start popping off. You've got Serrated Dirk already available for him. Like it's not going to be a great position. And Riverside, I mean, he's just bullying the Azir now. That's what you get for taking Airy. Ooh.
It is weird too, right? That Azir, like, there's so many different keystones that people take, and there's argument for all of them. It's such a weird champion.
Yeah, if I recall, there's a player on, man, what was the college called? Aquinas or Aquinas. Aquinas' mid laner was named Stevenator, who had, by the way, had one of the sexiest plays of all recorded human history in COL. I would vote it probably a top 5 play in COL history. But he talked about having to have a PhD in physics just to pick your Azir keystone, which is ridiculously accurate.
Wait. Is Riverside about to get solo killed in the top mid lane? It's getting zapped away by autos, but we go back down to the bot lane, and it is Sage who's taking a good amount of damage. They missed the mystic shot. No! The heal comes out. Kona got executed. The O-Force is still here, laying in a little bit of damage. Doesn't tag the skill shots. You gotta hit those. Trickster. This is the end of the line. Never pierces through. What is happening this game, Rebel?
When I'm in an inting competition and my competition
is Riverside!
No! Riverside!
She gets it!
Oh. Man, Ottawa is playing on the finest of margins with these kills, man. This is ridiculous. Killian, no.
255 is going to abuse Killian as a result. They've been getting bullied by not just
Killian.
the enemy team,
Run,
but
Killian.
Killian is also getting bullied by the opposition. The opposition's bullying them. The own team's bullying them. Killian can't catch a break, bro.
Usopp popped ultimate for that, though.
Yeah, because he's ending the world, man.
That's true, man. He's ending Killian's world.
Oh, man. Poor Killian.
Yeah.
Miss that guy.
Yeah, I miss that guy, too. Yo, Travis, you know what? I'm gonna reveal some good information here. If I were Aatrox and I were ulting, then you would disappear. Because if my world came to an end, then you would come to an end. Because you're my world, bro. I know you weren't. As we slowly watch Trickster get brought down to the street. Here's Riverside to fight too.
We're gonna go ahead and throw out some soldiers, throw Riverside off to the side. Riverside has still got them chains.
No!
So consider him too. The soldier's still there.
Okay, no, it's fine.
He dies. Okay, they traded back and forth. Now into the bot lane. Sagewabe is looking a little soggy. The arrow piercing through goes on to Lone Force. True shot for Raj. Misses its mark. Call it a boss shot. As Coda is taking a good amount of damage, tagging away at Sage. It is 80 carry for 80 carry, and now it's time for some Portal combat! Lone Force is the superior support.
Guys, we don't have to keep fighting. You can stop and just farm in this game. There are neutral objectives, like a Rift Herald that can be taken right now. We're at 19. My apologies. We're currently at 17 kills at 9 minutes into the game. Like, ugh.
Bro, I don't know what this game has done to me, but this game in general, we went from having it's a 50 kill game was game number 1, I think, and it's gotten us kind of loosey goosey.
Just a little bit.
Trickster, get out of position here. 1-for-1, possibly. Sage! Usopp secures the kill. It's 9-9.
All right, they're showing up for the Rift Herald fight. 255 is really low though, so like you have to be a little cautious. Oh, Daisy! No one else is here. They're just gonna push on bottom side. The cowards have decided to stop fighting and instead go for a cross-map play where they're definitely gonna pull more turret plates because you are currently playing as a Varus and a Senna. What? Okay.
That's a coward play if I've ever seen.
That was a coward play.
Playing strategically.
Was it correct? Yes, but it was a coward's play because you should be fighting for that Rift Herald instead of doing anything.
You should be fighting in the mid.
This is not the spirit of the MEC to walk into bottom side and take 3 turret plates away from the opposition in exchange for a Rift Herald that doesn't even get 2 anymore. No, you should have walked up and coin flipped on the Rift Herald for that play.
We have gone from let's analyze the game to let's take a stick and poke on our brains and be like, come on, fight more, come on,
fight more, come on. Our brains are fried. Fight more.
I feel like this is what happens honestly when we have only one game in our second block, right? Because we always, whenever there is like a game reschedule or like a game gets played off stream or something of the kind, we always find ourselves in a situation where it's the 7 o'clock Central Time game that ends up being the one that we end up having. So we're a little loopy. We haven't had like another series to kind of balance us out.
Yeah, we haven't had that we haven't had like the super reserved series that have got us into the analytical mindset. Instead, it's just been all goonery.
Okay. Coda, Levi, you guys are playing like cowards right now.
Guys,
I need you to go
4
out there.
turret plates. That's 4 kills you could have gotten in exchange, probably. Or
what is
4
this?
fights.
You guys are trying to do dragon while they're
Trickster,
all up.
Come on,
Cowards.
Really? All right,
cowards.
All right, yeah, cowards. It is much better though. As much as we've been gooning about the fighting happening, it is a much better style of play for Ottawa to just be taking neutral objectives around the map. Because continuing to fight has actually led to gold being returned to Illinois College in pretty decent spades right here. Whereas now, I mean, you walk away with a very tangible Hex Drake. You walk away with 4 plates on the bottom side. Like you have actual advantages to play on if you're Ottawa now.
I feel like we're calling Ottawa Braves out because they have so many fans. I don't know if you go back and look at the Twitch chat. They always have fans popping off like, I love you, Coda! And stuff like that. 255 coming in. Trying to say I love you to Coda as well, but instead they're just going to get kited back. It's damage coming in. Levi here to play wingman and stop any of the adoring public from getting to their hero Coda. 255 just wants Gromp. Trickster is going to be able to make him pay for that. Bristle hops over the wall. They're okay.
Did he get it? I think he smited it, so 255 did get it, but if I were 255, I was really worried that it was just going to get taken away from him, and he was just helping leash the Gromp for no reason.
Oh,
what's up?
Bonk. Yoink. Back in. Flash forward. World Ender is still there. The Chug Jug.
The Chug Jug. It's also a tank Gragas top lane, which is relatively rare. Like, even me, who's always been a tank Gragas apologist for the last while, is actually like, okay, like Rod of Ages and Seraphs is usually just the right play now. Like, that's just what people go for. So I'm a little shocked to see the Sunfire come out so quickly here for the Gragas, but I mean, I'm down for it. He's just trying to live. Oof. Oh, no.
Not going to be living for a very long time. He doesn't have all. He's going to get away. 255 is going to drop Herald in the top lane.
Okay. Get use of a few more minions here or there. Killian is a wild child for staying. I mean, I know he doesn't want to lose the tower, but goodness gracious. There's 3 up here. Yusuf took another tower shot.
Yeah. Tritzer's here, by the way. Tritzer snuck in somehow. The Glacial Prison, he flushed away from me.
He wants the kill, man. He wants the kill.
He's not going to get locked down. Usopp, come back to the all-COVID. Tritzer's one weakness. Can't find a way out, but there's the Emperor bringing in the soldiers. The shotgun is not mightier than the soldier. Dicey gets the kill, but the minions finished off the dirty work of Tritzter.
Okay. More kills. We're picking up back on our quota. For like 2-3 minutes there, we barely got anything. And here, we finally got some action back, Travis. This whole time, Riverside has actually been pushing on the bottom side as well, so there's a massive push up in the bottom side. Dicey's the one that gets to collect this tower. They get a decent amount of gold back for the Azir, which is a beneficial thing that Dicey finally in this game, Yusuf in this game a little bit. I'm still... It's not a winning situation still for them. They're still down like 3,000 gold, but the big thing is that Trickster is getting really fed on the Graves. Is like nearing 2-item completion at this point, already has like a slim set of boots. You're really getting ready to get going as Trickster to just kind of take off on this map.
Riverside Edge? Okay, fine. It's okay. It's LeBlanc. I don't know why I was ever worried. It shows how long it's been since I've seen a LeBlanc inside the game. Sagi. Going to be fine.
Sagawaba.
The tower, not going to
be better days. Seen better days.
Coward play taking down the tower. Can't even fight for itself. Can't even fend for itself.
Coward.
Yeah. Levi Coda. Known cowards. Attacking defenseless towers.
Known cowards. Cowards that attack towers.
Cowards. Oh.
Yeah.
I like this.
That's
copyrighted.
You could also call them William if you wanted to, because you got William Howard Taft, or William Howard Taft. I just did that again. Howard Taft. I'm taking it. Another win. I really am a degenerate. I'm sorry. I'm derailing this guy so hard.
No, this is one of the reasons why I love you so much, man. Usopp is in a rough way. Is going to get a lot of damage thrown their way. Yeah. Nobody will be able to save you from that scenario, not even the Straw Hat crew.
It looked like for a second there that they just kind of passed like ships in the night, like Riverside hadn't seen Yusuf. And I was like, did Yusuf just get away with murder? That you could just stand in the dry brush and just like between two full Fed members on the side of Ottawa?
Just T-pose. If you T-pose hide in
I figured he would just press his back button and then just leave anyway, so.
They think I'm a tree.
They have no clue that I'm here. Like Pokemon in tall grass, you know? There's not an Onyx in this 1 foot tall grass, despite the fact that the Pokemon's multiple tens of feet high.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember in Gen 2, there was like the thing where you had to like pour water on a Sudowoodo, and it's just like, this tree here, obviously a tree. Sudowoodo is not a very convincing tree.
No, not in the slightest. Okay. Killian is bold right now. Look at Killian. Yes. 4 members.
Killian has had enough. But you know what? They will pay for their transgressions. But you know what? I salute you, Killian. That was not the coward's way.
Killian, that was some bold play right there, bud. The Rift Herald had already been taken. You had already heard that. That is
taking a good amount of damage. Has to dodge out of the way. Coda taking a good amount of hurting as well. 255 in pursuit, as well as Usopp. Heather is there. Usopp gets skill onto Coda, but Trickster has arrived. This Eclipse Collector of Graves is here to kick ass and take names. Trickster going forward with a little bit more. Bristle, not built for getting hit with a shotgun, will disengage while Dicey takes a moment to build the foundation, a tower. Stop the push for Braves for a little bit longer.
We have a couple of chats here. Again, Killian, without any support from his teammates in a 1v4, just goes up to contestant already taken Rift Herald and kind of dies and goads them into more of a fight. And then Coda also made this really insane ultimate in the midst of like a very, very close-up team fight against the front line of Illinois College to try to pick off Sage in the midst of all of that. Didn't end up getting that kill either because of the flash that came out from the Ezreal to be able to get them away from that situation. But like you said, the reinforcements come in with Trickster and Riverside, and they are really pumping out damage. Same with Levi. Levi also 5-1-1 very quietly on this Varus is slowly getting a bunch of damage that they have to deal with. And it's funny because it's a lot of it's burst damage, so these members of the side of Illinois College are just getting picked off real quick. What are you doing here? Like, why is he in that brush? He's just a goon right now.
Killian is my hero. This is the person I would want to base my life off of. Body slam comes in. I'm still gonna keep chasing. 255's here as well. Like, hold up. Where do you think you're going? He gets tagged. Hit with the glacial prison. Come on now. Usopp finds the kill. It takes a while, but he does fall.
Oh my goodness.
I love Killian, man. Killian earned it.
Earned what? Earned what? The death? Like you being back more forward? Yeah. They will Rift Herald on the bottom side, but this does open up top side in exchange. So like Killian died probably unnecessary. Rift Herald gets dropped on bottom side so that Usopp continues to kind of collect gold and become more of a menace in this game. But Riverside is on the other side of the map doing exactly the same thing. The only benefit they have here is that the tower is going to go over to the Rift Herald. They might get a second charge here because no one's at the defense. Oh, that didn't actually stop a back either, which is kind of wild. But
yeah. Didn't stop the back. The Herald getting nice charges off. They do need to leave. There's a Varicena on the way. They're on the warpath. Go ahead and shuffle Riverside into the tower. That's a shutdown for the Azir. That is pretty huge. Gonna go ahead and get the teleport coming out from Dicey as well as the teleport from Sage. Collateral damage actually finds its mark. That's a double kill for Trickster, and now Dicey regrets ever coming down here. Levi will be able to pierce through their heart with an arrow. That's a shutdown going through.
See, I think that you put it very well earlier on in this game that Trickster is here to kick ass and he's here to drink mana potions. And guess what? They took mana potions out in 2016, so he's only got the one thing to do in this game. And it's like Killian is constantly a gremlin. Like Riverside is being a little bit of a gremlin sometimes. Coda's been a gremlin all game. But the second that Trickster shows up, the fight goes well. Why?
Coda was born a gremlin.
Coda's born a gremlin. Coda just he's the definition of a gremlin. Honestly, I'm gonna start calling people Coda instead of gremlins because he probably defines the genre too well. But Trickster, when he shows up, everything gets serious all of a sudden. It's just like, okay, Trickster's here. The fun's done. Mom's around. We gotta stop messing around. Trickster, the 156 farm Graves at 20 minutes into the game. Currently, I think, number 2 in the game for farm behind his ADC in this one. He's just not here to play around. He's here to solo win the game.
Honestly, Trickster is the mom that shows up with the weapon of choice, whether that be the slipper or the belt, whatever it may be.
Yes.
The chocolate. That's a dangerous weapon, bro. That's what Trickster's doing now in this game. True. Going in as this game continues onward and me and Rebel continue to lose our sanity. This is a game. Oh, it hasn't been. There's nothing slow about it. No, 33 kills in this 21-minute game.
For a season that was as competitive as this one, the MEC, we didn't get a lot of these games. We got some of them. Don't get me wrong. It's the MEC. We always get some of them. We didn't get as many as normal, so I'm happy that our final game of the season, for anybody that's been here the whole time, for any of you longtime fans, anybody that's playing in the league and is watching right now, just enjoying the final game of the season before we step into playoffs, get your last opportunity to see everybody playing before things kind of get battened down and get serious. This is a fun game for that, right? This is much more indicative of what I love Collegiate for, is games like this and kind of having fun and enjoying. Because again, the stakes are insanely high. Everybody makes playoffs. You're not super worried about that.
Trickster!
Oh, he says that
at least! Barrage misses! 255 finishes off the kill. But still, the explosive cast. Killian had enough. Gets the kill on Azrael, gets the kill on 255, bring the cast down!
Yeah, they end up bringing down Trickster at the front end of that fight, and then the rest of the kids are like, hey, you can't pick on our mom like that! And they just, like, they immediately bully the rest of Illinois College who are sitting inside of that jungle, as now Mountain Dragon should be available. They decide not to go for it because they don't have a Smite, even though Smite's not down on the other side of the map. Like, they have the damage for it. Instead, they're going to push mid lane. They're going to grab that tower. I want them to grab mid tower, and then I want them to walk at Dragon because I think that's the right play here. I would be worried if they don't take Dragon because I think this game could end up going way too long if there is not a soul point that's going to threaten for one of these two sides.
Yeah, no, the soul point. Honestly, Soul was made to stop games from going out as far as they would in the past. And seeing Usopp tagging Killian. Full tank, as you were talking about here. Killian, most likely to powerbomb you if you mess with their mom.
He's Trickster. He's soloing the dragon because I think he thinks the same thing that I do. Trickster's got a date tonight. Everybody else is just having fun, and he's got somewhere to be.
Yeah, the Glacier person actually hit on the Levi there. This one took a good amount of damage. Look at Riverside did. Overall to the side, actually doing good damage in the back end of the fight. Azir
now Trickster gets two.
Onto the Bears. Now Trickster is
Trickster
done.
enters.
They're awake. They're like, I have
Bomb's
my
home.
gate. I'm
Bomb's
ready
home.
to pop off in the fight. Their collateral damage comes on through. Riverside coming in. Killian wrapping around. It's a triple kill for the LeBlanc. Ezreal, not long for the world. Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? Nowhere! Ace for Riverside.
Yeah, it's a matter of, Illinois College sees an opportunity where, like, the Grays has not re-entered the entire junction quite yet, and they're like, okay, what can we do? We can try to make an engagement happen. We can just kind of run into them, and we can find kills, and they did. They actually found a couple of shutdown kills, but they took so much damage on the way out that, again, it was hilarious that, like, Riverside was still up at basically full health. Trickster was up, re-entering that fight after the Dragon to full health, and again, they had not pulled the chicken out of the freezer. The Chankla was ready. They were ready to kind of slap down Illinois College when the time came. And that time came way too quickly. Killian, what are you doing, dude? What is happening with this guy? I know they're probably called the Baron, but he's at like 25% health because he's been soloing it for like 2 minutes.
I don't think they have. I think Killian's just doing their own
Killian
thing
made the call. He forced them to make the call.
He's like, come on, guys, get over here. Do this thing with me.
Not good
He's
for
going
him,
to die to the Baron. The Baron killed Killian. They're going to go ahead and pull him into the pit. Levi falls victim as well. This call.
Trickster got the Baron.
But Trickster still gets Baron. It's a double kill. Illinois College, they're able to wipe 4 members from the Ottawa Braves. Illinois College, that was a big team fight for them.
You know what it might be? Maybe it's like Ottawa Braves are just like, guys, what if we let Coda shot call this? That's the thing. It's like they're just like, all right, Coda, you decide what we're doing at any given junction, and this is what is led from it. It's just like this is Coda's just like, Killian, solo Baron, you're Gragas, you have sustain, you go solo Baron. Again, there is no excuse why Gragas should be doing Baron on their own and down at like 25% health before anyone else steps into the pit. There is none. Zero justification.
I can see Killian being not super argumentative about it either. He's just like,
yeah.
Hey, well, yeah, you're the boss.
Coda's probably like, guys, let's set up for Baron. And Killian's like, I can solo it. And Coda's like, all right, let Killian solo it, guys. That's the call. That's like, I can 100% see that being the comms for this team in this one. Oh.
Bro, I am red in the face from this game. Actually, I have tears coming from my eyes. We're almost at the 50 kill mark. They're gonna find a catch out onto 255 inside the jungle to Sejuani.
Do we know what the maximum kills in a game has been for the MEC this season / all time?
I don't know for all time. I'm sure there's been some wonky
season,
numbers
though?
for all time, but this season is definitely hasn't been past
75. Is that what you said?
Wait, it's been 70? Really? There's been a 75 kill game?
Okay.
Oh, well, there you go. That makes sense. We'll see if we can beat that. Who knows? Ottawa Braves look like they don't have any interest in that record. They just have interest in maintaining their record in the first seed.
Oh my goodness.
They are grouping up. Coda's like, all right, guys, sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna take top.
Guys, I'll take the L for this one. My shot calling hasn't been perfectly on point. Like, it's okay. And now they're starting to bad down. Again, Trickster's got somewhere to be. He's got a date tonight, so he's like, all right, guys, we gotta stop this. Like, I got places to be. I got
Trickster's going from like, I really enjoyed the company I've met in CeeLo and to this game. Just like, guys, I gotta go somewhere. Get me out. They're sieging down. They definitely feels like it is Ottawa Braves saying, all right, we're done. We're getting 2 inhibitors. We reset. We just chill back.
Killian.
Okay.
My man.
Killian is my spirit animal.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so 50 seconds. Dragon should probably be the last contestable opportunity for Illinois to stay in / be around in this game. Once that's dead and over, I think we're done. Oh, there we go.
Show prison. That is instant delete. Rakota, the shot caller's gone. Teleport's coming about. Usopp's actually down to half HP. This could be a big error. Killian coming in. We're gonna slap people up. As the ult from the Azir, it doesn't catch anybody. Dicey can't scoop anyone. Usopp has that World Ender laying in a good amount of damage. Sejuani trying to live for their life, trying to run away. Usopp doing the best they can, but the best just ain't enough. When it comes down to Ottawa Braves, Killian leads the way for the team. They continue to follow Killian's warpath. Trickster gets the kill. Ottawa Braves, they make sure they have sole possession of first. Illinois College will have their tiebreaker for the 7th seed, but you
won't dive, Killian. You won't dive.
Killian, 255, ruining their day.
Okay, and that should be the end of the game unless they decide it's pad stats, but no, that's not going to happen. It was a fun game. It seemed like both teams were enjoying themselves quite a bit. Ottawa obviously having quite a bit of fun here as the #1 seed representative here from the MEC. I don't know that we expected that. I don't think everybody expected it. Again, usually GVU is kind of the favorite, but this back half of the season has been so electrifying for this roster. They have really brought it together. And walking into playoffs, they have to be so electrified for what's going to happen. So massive, massive props to this Ottawa squad. They earned a game like this where they just get to be as rambunctious as they want, and they made it an enjoyable final game here of the regular season of the MEC.
The interesting thing that does come about as a result of this, because this locks in our seeding and the positioning for the rest of this does mean that Illinois College either have to go against Ottawa Braves yet again, which could be yet again another chaotic series like this one was, where it was just like it was pretty decisive 2-0, but there was a lot of action. Illinois College was in it for the early part of the game, but depending on how the tiebreaker works out between IC and Drury Panthers, you're either looking at IC versus GVU or Ottawa Braves again. Same for Drury Panthers. So they don't know exactly who they're going to go against once the tiebreaker's figured out. That's that. But from the standings here, you can see who's going to be going against who. You see the 3rd seeds going against 6th seed and 4th seed taking on the 5th seed. These are actually some really insanely fun matches inside the playoffs. And you actually brought it up on the cast. MEC's been pretty close. I think this game, even though we had a lot of memeing, a lot of joking, it felt like we were losing our mind. I like seeing IC when they're willing to fight people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's always great. And you know what? If they're doing that against another team besides Ottawa Braves who also live in that same brand of chaos, I think that game becomes a lot more closer and you get a little bit more concerned. But I feel like we always were like, oh, Ottawa's just in their home territory, right?
Yeah. They were feeling comfortable basically no matter the circumstance. That yes, they were giving away free things during the course of that game, but ultimately I don't think they ever let it slip out of the grasp of their control by any standard whatsoever. I see competitive, but not like winning at any given point during the course of that series. So I'm also interested to find out, do we know whether a playoff bracket is constructed and then like standard? Does it stay that way, or is it always highest seed versus lowest seed no matter the round?
I believe it should be highest seed to lowest seed.
Okay, can you show the bracket then? Because I want to see that really quick.
Okay, we do not have the bracket.
The standings is what I wanted back just one more time, just so we could talk through that a little bit. Because we talked about Ottawa will be playing against Drury IC. The other side of the bracket, your expected winner is going to be GVU versus, again, IC or Drury. And then it'll be Illini on the same side of the bracket as GVU, which, again, pushed them twice, won once, and then lost the other time. And then obviously Ottawa beat them again. So that's a really intriguing matchup because Illini were probably had the most success against GVU, even though the Braves ended up winning. The Illini were probably the ones that had the most consistent success over the course of the whole split, who are going to be playing against Purdue Northwest, which is a decent team on their own right. And then, of course, you have the interesting the Ohio Northern versus Briarcliff, which is going to be taking on the Braves, where you've got like some kind of electrifying players on that one, taking on the winner of whoever Ottawa's playing in this bottom side of the bracket, just so you get a better image of not just like the 1 versus 8 or 2 versus 7 matchup, but like the whole bracket together. Ohio Northern and Ottawa maybe set to destiny, and then GVU and Illini against their opposition in the first round, obviously if they went through. But that's our expected kind of way that the bracket's going to hand out.
Man, that actually is insane. I actually didn't think about them being on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah.
You bringing that up is insane, because I think a lot of people came into this. I talked about it quite a bit throughout this weekend, where a lot of there's been a lot of conversation about MEC when it comes down to like whenever we see like the top 16 tier lists that pop up, because a lot of people just put GVU in there and they're like top 12 or something like that usually, and then there's no mention of any of the other teams that pop up in the MEC. So a lot of MEC fans or MEC players are like, yo, what's going on with this? Why are we not on this list? We're just as good. There's a possibility that Grand Finals might not even have GVU in it in that case, because it's another team like you were just talking about. It's a 1-1 record between the two. That's going to be spicy. If it happens down the road, there's always the chance that it doesn't, right? Like, I mean, it's CeeLo, baby.
Think of this too, because like there's a very real possibility that like it's not impossible that either Illini or even Ohio Northern or any other team can make a run, but like especially Illini and Ohio Northern potentially making a run through their side of the bracket and then taking a win in the finals. Again, any team can beat any team on any given day most of the time. Again, expectations are expectations for a reason, seeding for a reason. But say that Ohio Northern or Illini end up winning, and then you have Ottawa and GVU both sitting behind them as potential people for vote-ins for top 32. Like, that's going to be such a difficult decision for the committee, because again, like you said, maybe sometimes MEC gets a little underrated, doesn't get the exposure that they need. So hopefully somebody's in their corner defending just how well these rosters kind of played and developed all season, because if that happens, it would be a travesty to lose one or both of those rosters potentially to the flux.
That's me. But we're going to go ahead.
Dude?
Yeah, dude, that's me. I'm the travesty. But we'll see what goes on. We do have to finish things off for the night. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw it over to a short break. And when we come back, we're going to be going in depth with Ottawa Braves with an interview to finish off the MEC season. So make sure you do not touch that browser. We will be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on back to the MEC. It's Travis C. I'm joined here with Rebel Thoughts, and we got Killian. Had to readjust himself a little bit. I don't blame you after what was a very chaotic game there. How are you feeling, Killian?
I'm feeling good, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm gonna start real quick. I need to ask. I have questions. I have lots of them. So you were getting attacked at the very beginning of the game by your own teammates. I saw you were in Fountain and they were mass pinging you. What was the story like for that, man?
I was in the bathroom in the second game. I was in the bathroom, yeah.
Classic. Okay. All right, I just had to ask because I was like, man, Killian's getting assaulted, and then it all worked out because you just came around from a different angle and still got the flash. So
Yeah,
it's all good.
they do not like me because I'm inting a lot, so they are spam pinging me. It's okay.
Hey, speaking to that, I mean, what was going on in this last game? Because it feels like a number of times it wasn't just you. It was like it felt like everybody on your team was just having some fun across the map doing whatever. So like, were you guys just like goofing around, have a silly goofy time?
Yeah, I was playing like try hard because I wanted to see how Gragas is, tank. And then I was winning until Sejuani lane ganked me, and I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna limit test and see how the trade goes and how the matchup works because I've never played it.
Okay.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I saw you try to 1v1 Baron for a little bit of time there.
Yeah, but
I appreciate
my
that.
team did not follow. That was a good time.
We had a theory actually going through the game. Actually, me and Rebel's theory was because we were like, there's just some gremlin style play here, and because of that, we were like, Coda shot calling right now. That's what's happening. They're having Coda shot call. Was that what was happening, or was it just everybody was just a little bit chaotic?
No, that was not Coda. That was me. Because I was the one eating Nash and I was flaming my jungler because he was doing the camps instead of coming. Because if we all did Nash at first time, we would have done it and lived, right? I mean, I feel like...
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you ever scream at Tritzer in like French or anything like that? Because I know he also speaks it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad words in French to him. I mean, that's how you do in English too, but like...
That's true. A little more satiable for the others, I guess. So you guys had like a really miraculous like second half of the split, because if I recall, at the end of the first split, we actually talked to you. Like this conversation happened like one half of the split ago, and we were talking to you about what have you done to develop, what are you going to happen in the back half of the split. Have you accomplished everything you're looking for? Because now you're the number 1 seed. You beat out GVU, beat out Illinois to take the number 1 seed out of the bracket. Like, have you guys accomplished what you were looking to do from then?
I mean, for now, yes, because we didn't drop a game since we lost to GVO, I think, the first time. So yeah, we are doing better, but we still do not practice. The last time we played together was the week before Illinois, which was 2 weeks ago. So it's been a while since we screamed. Like, beside the region, the MEC, we don't play. Like, everyone has school or we don't have time, so...
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask why don't you scream, but now I get the answer. It's too busy. Yeah, okay, I can understand that.
So we are not even screaming. We wish we could, but...
I see.
Well, I mean, hey, look, you're not even screaming, but you're still number 1 seed. You guys are popping off. And I want to ask you, Killian, because you did role swap to top lane to the start of the season. I want to ask, how much more confident do you feel inside the top lane now? You've had more time to pick up some unique champions, some unique victories. You had what a lot of people were calling an MVP level performance in yesterday's series against GVU. How do you feel as you've evolved in this new role?
I feel like I'm doing better day by day, and I int a lot in solo queue, and that's how I learn. I'm still like Hardstock Diamond 4, but like if I play against good player or like higher level, I feel like I'm gonna play better than what I do in solo queue, because there's a lot of games where I go like 120, no, maybe not 120, but like 110, 112. I'm running down a lot, but that's how I learn how to trade better and stuff like that. And It helps me, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be a very successful top laner in the MEC, make sure that you limit testing solo queue 100% of the time, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
feel bad for my team.
Look, I'm just saying, bro. Balls was D4, and they popped
That's
off, got a
facts.
pentakill at Worlds. I mean, I'm just saying. And
Yeah.
Rumble did just get some buffs, so maybe Rumble isn't as bad top lane.
No, it's fine, but it's gonna be permaban, I think.
Yeah,
Definitely.
never get his hands on that. Speaking of that too, you guys seem to have a really solid draft for 13-5 in the first game. Is that something you've been working on too? Is just making sure you're prepped and ready for the patch that you're going to be playing, like playoffs and such on?
The patch didn't change much. Maybe there's 2 or 3 champions we can add, like Gragas, Annie, Yumi is disabled, but it's probably gonna pick ban next week. We are gonna see, but like overall it's the same thing. Maybe drop Ash because Ash support is not as good, but we don't know yet. We did not practice or try it, but I think it's bad. But beside that, everything is the same. Like there's 2 or 3 new champions that can be added, but yeah.
What is the likelihood that when Yumi is enabled, that Coda will be just meowing on mic and just doing random stuff? Give me a possibility.
I will mute him, but he can do that for the rest of the game. Yeah.
Coda's gonna get muted. My last thing is I got promised some spice by Coda. And this is actually a personal favor I need to ask from you, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
You have the power to do this. I don't have the power to do this. I need you to int Coda or do something to him. Put mustard in his socks or something. Like, do something to him. Because he promised to see a spicy game. I came in here. I asked Pantheon. He said, oh, further beyond Pantheon. Bro played Senna. That's not spicy. That's not what I was looking for.
I did ask for Pantheon in game 2 because you asked it. So I was like, I can just play top, or like we can flex it support top, and then I don't remember what happened, and we didn't end up getting it because they were like, oh, we gotta flex something or to make sure that they are not gonna counter pick, and we ended up with Gragas flex mid top. So I don't know.
Killian, you're my new favorite player now.
Why?
I hope you know that. Pantheon. Pantheon supporters, you just became my favorite player on the team. That's all you gotta do to sell me, alright?
It was good in game 1 if I was against Gwen playing Pantheon. I think it's a pretty good matchup. I didn't know about that game 1, that you wanted us to play Pantheons.
I appreciate it. I care about it. Well, that being said, Killian, I'm going to let you go. I know it's the end of the weekend. You probably want to get some rest. Is there anything you would like to say to the people who have been cheering you guys on? You guys have been popular inside of Twitch chat. Every time you guys play, there's always a group of fans out there. I'm sure you've got your own fan club going. What do you want to say to the loyal Killian fans out there?
I don't have a lot of fans, I think, besides school. People don't like me that much because of how I hacked in solo queue, but it's fine. It's whatever. But I've realized, as you said, that in Twitch chat there is a lot of people talking. It can be trash talk or like supporting. It's pretty fun, but like sometimes they go too far, you know. It's fine as long as it's not like hurtful or anything. It's just banter, you know.
That's what matters. I appreciate that. I'm going to give your fan club a new name. Killian's Kittens. That's the new name. If you are a part of it, I want to see it in your Twitter bio.
Meows in the chat.
Discord. Can I get some meows in chat? Can I get some purrs on mic from my boy Killian? Thank you, Killian. I hope that you're able to have yourself a great night and your DMs aren't clogged by the amount of meows that are coming your way.
Yeah, I will block everything.
Thank you, Ian. Take care and have a good night, bro.
Alright, see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Alright, well, that was Killian. I love Killian. Every time we get him in for an interview. He's such a good guy. Killian's Kittens, though. I think that's a great name. I think I was onto something with that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll see. Time will tell whether or not that name sticks and whether or not Killian has to block just like a bunch of people on Twitter and Twitch. So that I'm keeping track of that myself personally, even in my off time. So
I do want to also say I saw this inside the Twitch chat. Apparently, Riverside came in and said Trickster took 5 NyQuils before game 2.
You got a piece of the NyQuil chicken before popping off in that game, I guess.
Oh man, you know what? This is exactly the kind of game I wanted to end off the regular season of the MEC with. This is tonight, the ending is a pure just embodiment of what Collegiate League of Legends is. It's fun. It's a good time, and it's just good. It's just the most entertaining league you can find out there.
Absolutely is. It's been an insanely long season. Covering it's been an absolute blast because of the number of teams, the number of new players, the number of returning players that have kind of made noise. It's always great to see the growth that leagues like this are able to make. And so the MEC showing up in force, I think walking into playoffs, we have a lot of teams that are going to be really, really competitive for the title here. So I'm looking forward to it as we kind of kick through. We say goodbye to the end of the regular season. We say hello to playoffs in the next week. MEC's only got more interest to come.
Yep. Next week, the chase for the cup begins. But all 8 teams, they have their spots. They all may start at different starting lines, but all their eyes are on the same finish. They want that number 1 seed. They want to finish things off. They want to be the number 1 team in the MEC. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in next week to be able to catch the action, see all these teams making their sprint to the finish line. That is it for us tonight. We're going to go ahead and call it. Have yourselves a great evening, and we'll see you next week.